Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wolf Pit with another episode of What Are We Eating? Today we're going to talk about Chinese food, which is one of my favorite foods to eat. Well, all food is my favorite. Who am I kidding? And it's very obvious. Eating Chinese food though brings back memories of my childhood. Back in the 70s, there wasn't a Chinese restaurant on every corner, and you couldn't just hop on the phone and order delivery. You would actually have to put a little bit effort towards dinner by getting in your car and going to pick it up at the Chinese restaurant, or going out to eat in the Chinese restaurant. I remember back when I was about 5 or 6 years old, my family was eating at a Chinese restaurant, and the name of it was Feng Wong. Back then, when you ate in most restaurants, they would automatically give you ice water. Nowadays, you have to ask for ice water, and they give you a paper straw. One turtle got a plastic straw stuck in its nose, and now all straws are bad. I didn't post a picture of the turtle with the straw in its nose because someone would get offended, and the next thing you know, PETA would be at my door. Now let's get back to the automatic initial serving of ice water. After the initial automatic serving of ice water, the waiter or waitress would come around and refill your water, even if you only took a drink out of it. After about 20 minutes and 5 refills, I couldn't drink anymore, and I asked them to please stop refilling my glass. And that was when my dad slapped me in the back of the head and said, "You don't have to drink it, you big dummy." I didn't know what to do. Like I said, we didn't go out to eat that often. Now that I've told you, the people, my childhood history about eating Chinese food and in Chinese restaurants, let's get to today's video about Chinese food. One dish we're going to try today is authentic Chinese food, and the other one is Chinese American food. The authentic Chinese food we're trying today is Kung Pao chicken, which is one of my favorite dishes, with rich spicy sauce, numbing Szechuan peppercorns, and of course, the peanuts. The Chinese American dish we're trying is Sesame chicken, which is deep fried chicken and an overly sweet sauce garnished with sesame seeds. But there's a catch. The Kung Pao chicken and Sesame chicken we're trying today were not made in the restaurant. They're frozen. Frozen Chinese foods are notoriously bad or inedible. So let's see if Banquet's Mega Bowl Kung Pao chicken and Sesame chicken are any different. Let's start off with the 13.5 ounce Banquet Mega Bowl's Kung Pao chicken, which costs $2.18. This classic dish with bold flavor consists of tempura white meat chicken, vegetables, spicy Kung Pao sauce, and rice. Two things immediately stand out to me that are wrong with this dish. One, tempura white meat chicken. Kung Pao chicken is usually unbreaded dark meat. I don't know when these frozen food manufacturers will realize that breaded frozen chicken does not reheat good at all. The breaded 4-meat slurry concoction feels like you're chewing on a moist mattress in a nursing home. The other thing they missed was peanuts. You can't make Kung Pao chicken without peanuts. That's like making a pizza without the cheese. Big meals for big appetites. Sometimes you just need more. Mrs. Wolfpit chuckled when I said that, and she said, "Ain't that the truth?" What the hell was she talking about? 16 grams of protein per box. Does that mean you have to eat the box? Here's all the ingredients that's in the Kung Pao chicken. And the first thing that stands out to me is white meat chicken fritter. Why don't they just say it's a 4-meat slurry concoction? These frozen food companies need to start being honest with you, the people. The serving size is the whole bowl, which has 550 calories, 20 grams of total fat, 3.5 grams of saturated fat, no trans fat, 35 milligrams of cholesterol, 1,290 milligrams of sodium, 77 grams of carbohydrates, 2 grams of fiber, 14 grams of sugars, and 16 grams of protein. I love how these companies always advertise the protein amount, but they always fail to advertise the sodium amount. Like on this one, on the front of the box, it says 16 grams of protein. Under the protein box, they should list the amount of sodium at 1,290 milligrams. But just to be fair, we, the people, as adults, are responsible for what we put in our bodies. That's why it's important to read the ingredient list and the nutrition label. Here's the heating instructions, and you can only heat these up in the microwave. Here's what it looked like frozen straight out of the box. And it looks more like sweet and sour chicken than it does Kung Pao chicken. And here's what it looks like after heating according to the instructions. We stabbed a piece of chicken to try it first, and right off the bat, you can tell how soggy the breading is. It was falling off the chicken before we even had a chance to give it a try. And you've probably already guessed it by now, but the bite overall was bland and spongy. So Mrs. Wolfpit gave it a good mix. And speaking of Mrs. Wolfpit, her nails are looking mighty fine. Hopefully, that'll stop the questions in the comment section of why do I paint my nails? Because they're not my hands. So then we went in for a bite of the rice, sauce, and vegetables. And it looks the same as any other frozen meal with rice I've ever had. Terrible. And it tasted the same. Terrible. Some of the rice was hard and undercooked, and some of it was mushy and overcooked. The sauce was sickening sweet, with a generic sweet and sour flavor to it. There's nothing sweet with Kung Pao chicken. This tasted more like a generic sweet and sour chicken. A crappy sweet and sour chicken. And Kung Pao chicken is supposed to be spicy. There's absolutely no spice in this. If they're going to call this Kung Pao chicken, you might as well call it spaghetti and meatballs. Because it tastes like neither. This is false advertising at its best. Which is why I'm going to give Banquet Mega Bowls Kung Pao chicken a 0 out of 10. And I would advise you, the people, to avoid this at all cost. Now let's try the Banquet Mega Bowls Sesame Chicken Lo Mein, which also cost $2.18. Two things on the box immediately caught my eye. This is sesame chicken. Where are the sesame seeds? Probably the same place the peanuts were in the Kung Pao chicken. They weren't part of the dish. Because 0.6% of the US population are allergic to peanuts. So they can't put peanuts in a dish because less than 1% of the US population is allergic to them. I can't guarantee that's true, it's just my assumption. And I'm sticking to it. You have to appease the minority of the population and then tell the majority of the population just to pound sand. Again, that's just my thoughts and opinion. I could be totally wrong. If I am, let me know in the comments. And one more thing, if those noodles are lo mein noodles, I'm Clint Eastwood. And this meal has the same motto, big meals for big appetites. Sometimes you just need more. And I taped Mrs. Wolfpit's mouth shut when I said it that time. 21 grams of protein per box. And I'm still confused, do you have to eat the box to get the full serving of protein? Classic dish with bold flavor. Tempura white meat fritters, sweet sesame sauce, vegetables, and lo mein noodles. Here's a list of ingredients, and again, we have white meat chicken fritters. I'm really looking forward to those. The serving size is the whole bowl, which has 570 calories, 11 grams of total fat, 2 grams of saturated fat, no trans fat, 35 milligrams of cholesterol, 1,900 milligrams of sodium, 97 grams of carbohydrates, 4 grams of fiber, 31 grams of sugar, and 21 grams of protein. They gave us a sodium bonus on this one. We went from 56% to 83% of your daily allowance. Again, the only recommended way of heating this up is in the microwave. And here's what it looks like after heating per the instructions. And the spaghetti noodles, lo mein noodles, got a little toasty. So we went in to try a piece of the chicken first. And the same thing happened on this chicken that happened with the Kung Pao chicken. The breading just all fell apart and it was mushy. We're back to the texture of a moist mattress in a nursing home. And to be perfectly honest, the chicken was no good and the sauce tasted just like the Kung Pao sauce. Terrible! So Mrs. Wolfpit, she put her beautiful digits back to work and gave it all a mix. The more she mixed, the less promising it looked. So once all the noodles were coated and the chicken was coated, we went in for another bite. And as you can see, the breading is coming off the chicken again. What's the purpose of putting the breading on the chicken if it's not going to stay on the chicken? We weren't going to bother with the chicken on this bite. We just got a big scoop of the gooey noodles. We just got a big scoop of the lo mein noodles. I have a good deal for you for some oceanfront property in Arizona. I even got a couple of those little green devil balls in this bite, which you guys know I hate peas, but I'm still going to try them. For you, the people, so you don't have to. So I closed my eyes, I took a deep breath, and I imagined I was in a good Chinese restaurant eating good, authentic lo mein. When I opened my eyes, I was in the middle of a bad dream. I was surrounded by trash pandas while I shared food with them out of the dumpster. These noodles, call them what you want, spaghetti noodles or lo mein noodles, were terrible. Just like with the rice, some were hard, some were overcooked and mushy. So not like we really needed to, but we took one final bite of the chicken and the noodles, and the sauce. And it was a good thing I wasn't waiting on a miracle, because they tasted just as bad altogether than they did individually. Which is why I'm giving Banquet's Mega Bowl Sesame Chicken Lo Mein the same well-deserved score as the Kung Pao Chicken, a 0 out of 10. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.